do find it really interesting how Myron is like, you should sleep with 50 women, and then when this guy says that he basically did that and it actually had a negative impact on him and it had a negative impact on how he was viewing women, then Myron is suddenly like, oh well, that's on you, bro, you know?
Yeah, and also a lot of these red pill dudes, they talk about finding a wife, this, that, and the third with a wife. Have you ever seen any of these red pill niggas married? Like, ever? Please let me know in the comments if you've ever seen any of these red pill dudes married. The only person that I can think of off the top of my head is, I think, Rollo Tomasi. I think Rollo Tomasi might be married. But besides him, when have you ever seen any of these big red pill figureheads married to a woman? Never, right? Exactly. The manosphere destroyed my love life. Video by Patience Exena? I hope I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name, miss. But this is what we're getting into today. And I've heard this a lot, especially recently, last year. Bro, the manosphere and specifically the red pill ideology is destroying people's love lives. On the red pill part is probably the extreme sides of the red pill, because like I said in my last couple videos, some things in the red pill inherently aren't bad and are actually good for you. It's when you take this shit to the extreme, that's when this shit get bad. Let's get into this, man. Let's go.
Family lawyers are now seeing a wave of divorces caused by red pill content. According to a CBC report, men are bringing red pill ideas into their marriages by demanding obedience and treating their wives like subordinates. A Canadian family lawyer says he's seeing a trend of men getting sucked into misogynistic ideals, and the marriage starts to unravel.
I was a person that used to be in the red pill community. I was a person that used to be in this alpha male space, and let me tell you, it destroys you.
Hello my dears. Not too long ago I made a video about middle-aged women who had discussed their experiences and how they felt that their feminist views, or the feminist views that they had in their youth, or at least their interpretation of those beliefs and views, had negatively impacted them when it came to their love life as well as their aspirations to have families. Today we are visiting the other side of that coin, which is the manosphere or the red pill. Today we're going to be looking at a few stories of some men who chose to be very candid online about the ways in which they found the red pill or the manosphere negatively impacted them in their love lives, or negatively impacted the way that they interacted with women in their personal love lives, and just kind of having a look to see how the other side are also finding issues. Because why not have some balance, you know? So the first post comes from this fella.
And to this I say, when you take something to the extreme on both sides, whether it's this red pill stuff or feminism, stuff like that, when you take this shit to the extremes, to the point of the incels and the MGTOWs and all that stuff, down to the super duper overly overt feminist, I don't know what it's called on their side. It's a radical feminist. I don't know what it's called. It's something like that. If you take things to the extreme, shit can get bad, no matter which side you on.
Who wrote, "How the red pill ruined the best relationship I ever had. A brutally honest post-mortem." This is hard to write, but I must find closure, clarity, and perhaps help someone else. A few months ago, I was dating a woman who, by all metrics, should have been the one. Beautiful, politically and ideologically aligned, sharp and rare in her values. We met on Hinge through a rather unconventional and edgy exchange. Let's just say we both have a similar dissenting takes on geopolitics. We clicked instantly. Our personalities mirrored each other. We laughed, connected. For a while, it was beautiful. But I sabotaged it. Not because I cheated, not because I stopped caring, but because I let ideology poison my ability to love. I allowed myself to be consumed by red pill content, not just the surface level dating tips, but the entire worldview. Hypergamy, frame.
And that's where they get you. Because when you enter the red pill, you get some of the good things from it, you know, like for instance, getting your money up, getting your status up, going to the gym, living a overall more healthier lifestyle, reading, stuff like that. When you first get into it, yes, there are good things that you can apply into your life and it'll make your life better, not just in relationships, but just life in general. But once you get further into it, that's when shit starts to go downhill. Once you start going down the hypergamy, frame, SMV, once you start going down those routes with that, when you go fully into that red pill, you will start to think of women not as people, not as humans, but objects. You will start to think of women as just sexual tools, as just things to conquest and conquer, instead of a human being, instead of your equal. And that is where a lot of people that are stuck in this red pill paradox fall. Because now, oh yeah, you're getting women here and there, or you are getting hella women, but they're leaving like this because of the way you think. They're leaving like this because you don't see women as people. You don't see women as humans. You just see them as something to use. And this isn't all of the red pill. I gotta get that point across, because a lot of you motherfuckers in the comments gonna be like, oh, you keep dissing the red pill. It isn't all. I know it's not all. But you can't lie and say it ain't the majority. You can't lie and say it's not the majority, because it is. It is. Look at some of the big figureheads in the red pill community. Andrew Tate, Myron Gaines, I mean, the whole Fresh and Fit community, your FitX Fearlesses, MJ Get Right, Steph is Cold, stuff like that. When you first start watching these people, yes, they are giving you valuable information that you can use in your life to make it better. But once you take this shit to the extreme, once you watch these people every day, every couple other days, and you're really listening to what they're saying, your life starts to go downhill. No bullshit. And I've seen that with a lot of people, not just on the internet, but in real fucking life.
SMV. If anyone knows what SMV stands for, let us know in the comments, because
SMV stands for sexual market value, if you didn't know.
I don't know. And while it does offer some useful critique of modern dating and gender roles, it's also a reactionary trap, especially when applied without a deep understanding of grace, selflessness, or faith. I started viewing her not as a unique human being, but as a statistical avatar of female nature. I stopped listening and started lecturing. I stopped being present and started analyzing. I let myself believe that love was a weakness, vulnerability was failure, and leadership meant dominance rather than sacrifice. And while she tried to love me, not because I was high value in some material sense, I'm still in grad school, broke and disorganized, but because she saw something good in me. I didn't return that love. I filtered her every shortcoming through a lens of disdain rather than empathy. Eventually, she lost attraction. Who wouldn't? I became emotionally unavailable, critical and dogmatic. She told me I was too much, that she felt smothered, and when she pulled back, I panicked, chased and texted too much, and desperation never works. I wrote her a heartfelt letter owning up to everything. She said, quote, "That's sweet, baby cakes." That was her way of saying goodbye. Later,
that was her way of saying, fuck you, boy. That was her way of being like, yeah, shut that shit up, nigga, it's over.
That she just didn't feel the same anymore. She said she cared for me, didn't want to hurt me, but it was done. Red pill logic told me she was just being hypergamous, chasing the next guy. But the truth, she was patient, tolerant, and communicative, and I destroyed the emotional intimacy that made her want to stay. The red pill didn't ruin my relationship. I did. Because I clung to theory instead of embracing love. I treated her like a projection instead of a person. At least to be fair, because he's still really young, he still has a lot of time to course correct, because he's at least self-aware enough to
I'm glad. Hey, so one thing I'm glad about with some of these stories is the fact that a lot of these men are young or like around my age, 20, 18, 21, stuff like that. You still have your life ahead of you to course correct and keep going. Some of these niggas are stuck in this red pill trap forever. There are motherfuckers who are 50, 60, still with this super duper red pill mindset. And guess what you see? They don't got no kids. They don't got no wife. And they're still chasing Johns. They still have a roster. I ain't gonna lie. At 60 years old, bruh, if you got a roster, oh, damn. I ain't gonna judge you. Life is life. You do what you want to do. If you want to have multiple Jones at 60, you do what you gotta do. But goddamn,
where he went wrong in this relationship. And so I can't imagine that it's going to harm him too much, because he's going to have multiple opportunities to find someone new and to learn from the mistakes that he's made within this particular situation. But this is just one example of how some people just get way too invested and too deep into some of these ideologies to the point where it just ends up sabotaging their relationships with people, because rather than kind of being present in the moment and reacting to what's currently happening in that moment in time, they're trying to live their life through these ideological lenses, which sometimes aren't realistic and aren't really practical. Then there was also this video that was circulating where Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit was confronted by one of his viewers, who stated that they've watched his content, they followed some of the stuff that he was saying, but they actually found it to have been quite detrimental to them in terms of how they were treating women and how they were viewing women. And once they let go of those beliefs and they found God, they actually found that they had much healthier relationships with women and ended up getting married.
So can I ask a quick synopsis of what you think the prescription is for society today for men? In a short version, what do you think they should do to be successful with women?
I've talked about this. I think guys have to have certain things in place, right, before they want to get into a long-term relationship. It's 5 things. So I would say $100K per year, 6 figures a year, 6 months to 1 year of savings, be in good shape, have at least 50 partners, right, sexual body count.
All right, and then
what's so crazy about that though? When it's reversed, and if a girl was to have 50 bodies, this nigga Myron would be like, oh, whore. All the red pill motherfuckers would be like, whore. But when a guy has 50 bodies, he's not also a whore. That was the one thing in the red pill when I was deeply entrenched in that shit when I was like 15, 16, that I just didn't understand. How is a man not a whore for having hella bodies, but a girl is a whore for having hella bodies? That don't make sense to me. And people came with the argument of, oh, when women do stuff sexually, it's emotionally, and when men do stuff sexually, they're just trying to conquer shit and yada yada. I still don't get it to this day. I don't. Even after being out of that whole red pill space, I still don't fucking get it.
Is that the last one?
And then there's one more, but that's fine. You could go ahead and engage with what I've said so far.
So the reason I asked that is I've watched almost every single podcast you ever did for about a year and a half. So much so that I bought into a lot of the things that you said. And for about 2 years, it led me astray and significantly damaged my personal life, including relationships.
How did it lead you astray?
Well, you told me to go sleep with a bunch of women and date multiple women at the same time, which I did. And it significantly damaged my life. And it wasn't until I actually turned around and started listening.
And again, there's nothing wrong with, bro, date around, do what you gotta do. If you want to be a little Horace, be a little, you know what I'm saying? Move around, have your hoes, do what you gotta do. But don't get mad or don't judge somebody else for doing the same goddamn thing. No matter what gender you are, bro. Don't judge somebody for doing the same thing you're doing. You feel me? And I feel like there is a lot of pros to dating around, but there are some negatives too. Like with anything.
To Jesus Christ that I was saved. Now I'm happily married. Mm-hmm. I have one child now with another one on the way, and I've never felt happier. But I felt...
Congratulations, that's good. That's really good.
Thank you. And I know you're not against that, but my concern is what you're saying to men leads them astray, because I'm a walking example of it.
So would it be fair to say that when you went through that experience, you were able to identify characteristics that you probably found as unredeemable and you probably wouldn't want to commit to, right?
In what way?
Well, when you were seeing these women, right, you probably started seeing patterns in how they behave, how they speak or whatever. Maybe they're not qualified to be a wife. Because the thing is, right?
Well, I don't need that. I have the Bible for that. It tells me what to look for.
Yeah, but the thing is that you were able, and again, you're probably not going to notice it, but when you dated and dealt with all these women, you probably were able to identify characteristics that you were not fond of, or characteristics that would make a woman not a good candidate for a long-term relationship. And I think half the game is figuring out which girls don't qualify for marriage versus which ones that do. And clearly you learned a skill set on how to become attractive and get women, and then you're able to identify the things that you like versus the things that you don't like. And I mean, even in your success story, you had to go through a lot of bad women to be able to identify your current wife as the one. So failures are good. They're good.
Yeah, failures, excuse me, failures in the sense of socioeconomic or maybe even relationship failures could be good. But there's a difference with what I'm saying. I'm saying that we're warned against our soul. Jesus Christ commands us to marry one woman. That's it.
Sure.
And what you were causing me to do was sin against myself. And that's the point I'm trying to get to. It's immoral.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take personal responsibility, bro, because here's the reality.
No, I do, 100%.
Yeah, so
very publicly, I have in front of over 40,000 people. I've done that.
Yeah, great. But the point I'm trying to make is I teach guys a skill set, right? If I give you a gun and you shoot yourself in the foot, is that my fault? If I taught you how to properly use it, how to disarm it, disassemble it, you know, how to load the magazine in properly.
Okay, yeah. And one thing I will say is even if you go off the deep end into the red pill, a lot of the blame does have to be put on you because you are your own person. But what I'm saying is the red pill is kind of the guiding anchor to you going off the deep end. That's what I'm saying. Not all blame needs to be put on the red pill. Obviously, you are your own person. You made the mistake, regardless of whatever ideology you were following. It was you. So, yeah, of course. Take responsibility for what you've done.
If I give you the skill set, then you shoot yourself in the foot, right? Is that really my fault? No, I just arm you with the skill set. Then you choose what you want to do with it. Now, obviously, you wanted to go toward a sex escapade, which is, I guess, fine. But the reality is I armed you with the tools to become an attractive guy, and you utilize that. You can't come back and get mad and say,
you didn't arm me with that. I became attractive when I followed Jesus. That was it.
Oh, okay.
I do find it really interesting how Myron is like, you should sleep with 50 women. And then when this guy says that he basically did that and it actually had a negative impact on him and it had a negative impact on how he was viewing women, then Myron is suddenly like, oh, well, that's on you, bro. You know?
Yeah,
like
and also a lot of these red pill dudes, they talk about finding a wife, this, that, and the third with a wife. Have you ever seen any of these red pill niggas married? Like, ever? Please let me know in the comments if you've ever seen any of these red pill dudes married. The only person that I can think of off the top of my head is, I think, Rollo Tomasi. I think Rollo Tomasi might be married. But besides him, when have you ever seen any of these big red pill figureheads married to a woman? Never, right? Exactly. Exactly.
or take accountability. But then interestingly, when the guy says that he's now married, Myron is then like, oh, well, you know, that's probably because you watch my content and you probably gained some knowledge from that in terms of what to look for in a woman or how to vet the right woman to the point where you ended up getting married. The reason I find this interesting is because Myron seems very keen to take credit for this guy's successes, but has absolutely no interest whatsoever in taking credit for any of his failures, which is also something that I saw in my last video too. A lot of people saying feminism isn't what destroyed these women's love lives, or isn't what negatively impacted these women's love lives. They are the ones who are responsible for negatively impacting their own love lives. But I would bet that if those women had reported positive experiences as a result of feminism and attributed those positive experiences to feminism, people would have accepted that.
That is a good point.
Yeah, sure.
That is a good point.
Yeah, feminism probably is the reason why you had that opportunity, or why you're able
that is a good point. People like to absolve the ideology from the problem when the problem is bad. But as soon as things turn up good for somebody, that's when it's, oh, feminism was the reason why that happened. The red pill was the reason why this happened. This and this was the reason why that happened. You always want to take part in the good, but never want to take part for the bad. What I feel like is this. I feel like it's a 50-50 thing. Because yes, you are your own person, but also this ideology is kind of the reason why you turn into the person that you are. So I feel like it's 50-50, in my opinion, or maybe 60-40.
do that thing. I highly doubt they would still turn around in that situation and say, oh, no, feminism had nothing to do with that. You did that all on your own. My point is that, yes, while people should absolutely have personal responsibility and take accountability for their own actions and their own choices, because ultimately you are the one who chooses what you listen to and what you choose to ignore. I also think that ideologies and thought leaders, people who influence the way people think and who offer prescriptions on how people should live their lives, also do bear some responsibility. Not all of it, but part of the responsibility for people's outcomes, good or bad. I don't think people should put themselves in the position of being thought leaders or people who can encourage people to live certain lifestyles or to live their lives in a certain way, yet simultaneously wash their hands of any of the negative consequences or negative outcomes that come from that. Not everybody benefits from the same advice. Some people might really benefit from these beliefs and from following these ideologies because it suits their personality and it suits their desires and what kind of outcomes that they want to have.
And I'm not saying in this video that nobody hasn't benefited from the red pill and stuff like that. What I'm saying is when you go too deep into this shit, any extreme, it can cause problems. It can cause problems, bro. I can say from my own experience, bro, when I was deeply entrenched in this red pill shit, bro, oh my God. Sometimes I don't even want to look back at that version of myself. But I didn't look to women as people or didn't see them as my equal or see them as human in certain aspects. Like, I was over here like, oh yeah, I need her for this, and need her for that. Like, and that's just me. That's just my own experience. But it's the fact that I've heard my own experience over and over and over and over again from other people. That's making me make videos like these. That's making me make videos denouncing the red pill as someone who has gotten out of it. You feel me? And I feel like a lot of the red pill is based in fear in terms of like, when she texts you, take this long of a time to text her back, for instance, like that whole thing. That's rooted in fear because you're afraid of, if I text back fast, I'm going to look like this, that, and the third. If you want to text it, my whole thing is this: if you want to text this person now, text them now. If you want to text them later, text them later. Simple. Live your life the way you want to. That is my advice. You don't need no pill. You don't need no ideology. Live your life how you want to live it. You want these things? Move like a person who already has said thing. You want the beautiful woman, the great girlfriend. If you want hella hoes, I guess you want hella hoes. Move like a person who already has those things. Move like a person who already has that in dating, in this, that, and the third. You want this certain lifestyle? Move like somebody who already has it. Be in the mindset of the person who already has said thing. And your life will change. Literally. You don't need no pill, no ideology, no fucking $2,000 a month course. What I just said, that's all it is, man. In my opinion, personally.
There are also going to always be those people who have negative outcomes from following this stuff, because it's not possible for the things that you teach people or the things that you encourage people to do to always work out. You know, even medication comes with side effects. Some people benefit from taking a medication and it saves their lives. Some people get more sick and they experience a whole list of issues. And that's just the reality of life. Not everybody's gonna fit into a one-size-fits-all solution. For some people, it can be beneficial. For some people, it can harm them. But if you are so insistent on taking credit for successes, you have to also take credit for the failures that happen as a result of people subscribing to your way of life or your teachings. I don't agree with this picking and choosing what you want to take credit for. Happy to take credit for the successes, refusing to take credit for the failures. That, to me, no. But anyways, moving on. We also have this guy who struggled with the fact that his girlfriend had 6 previous sexual partners before him. And so he made this post online to try and get some help with coping with that, I guess. So he posted, "The red pill beliefs destroying a beautiful relationship need help." So I recently realized that my beliefs were really damaging. I realized these old red pill and evolutionary psychology beliefs that empowered me also unequivocally make me feel like a loser compared to everyone she's had uncommitted sex with.
Damn.
So I wrote down the beliefs I hold, and while I know some of them sound insane, I would really like your confirmation that they are false. I feel like it's the only hope I have. So the beliefs that are destroying the relationship are: women give sex and men have to earn it. If men are worthy for a short-term fling, they are more chosen than a man chosen for a relationship. A man who gets it without commitment is superior than one who needs to commit or show explicit signs that he wants to commit. The top 1 to 20% of men are the ones getting the most sex, so it's likely that the men she slept with are better than me. Women present a loving...
This mindset is probably one of the reasons why she might not sleep with you. This mindset, like what in the doom and gloom is this? This don't even sound like some red pill shit. This sound like some damn near black pill shit. The fuck? Damn. I ain't gonna lie. If I'm talking to a girl and she's like, "Oh yeah, I have like 6 bodies," I'm not really gonna care, because those previous bodies, those previous men don't matter in my world. What matters is me and her, and what's going on between me and her. Simple. Like I never got those people that got insecure over their partner's body count or the fact that their partner has had previous sexual experience before them. Like I never got that, because like, of course people live lives. Of course a girl that you meet is probably gonna have a couple bodies. She's probably gonna have a couple sexual experiences. That's life. That's life.
Committed personality when they are in love with a long-term mate, and a different, more sexual personality when they are with a highly attractive short-term mate. So the short-term sex partner sees more of her true nature, so he wins. But how would he see more of her true nature if he was short-term? If she only slept with them, at what point would he have really been able to see her true nature?
Yeah, how would he be able to see her true nature if it was only a one-night stand? I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments, because I don't know. I don't know at all.
Because there is more to her nature than just sex. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that means. Most men who date are just looking to get laid. I don't know. I feel like this is a stereotype. I could be
That's
wrong,
like a
I don't know.
generalization.
I
I
would
ain't
say
gonna
that
lie.
most men, I don't think men and women are as different as we are portrayed to be, or as some people think we are. I think the vast majority of men and women want to have meaningful relationships. I could be wrong though, but I do think most women and most men would like to have a meaningful relationship at some point, even if they might not necessarily want that immediately. They most of them do desire to have that at some point in their lives. Like I said, let me know if I'm wrong. Most men who date are just looking to get laid. Men who slept with my girlfriend just used her. She allowed it. This makes them the winner over me. When
What
a woman
the
has sex with a
fuck?
new guy, it emotionally damages her somewhat. Sex in the future becomes less meaningful for her. Therefore, guys...
I hate to say this got to be the most little bitch mindset I've ever seen in my life. Period. He just called the men that slept with his girl before him winners. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is your girlfriend now, by the way. So I'm pretty sure y'all have probably slept with each other before. Like, why the fuck are you thinking about other men, gang? It's about you and her. Why are you thinking about other men, gang? And that's one thing that the red pill will get you to do in certain aspects, like in relationships, and your partner's like, "Oh yeah, I've had like 2 sexual experiences, or how many ever other number." You'll just look at that shit and be like, "Damn, what the fuck? This person, that person." Like, bro, it is you and her right now, not any of these other niggas. She is your girlfriend. She is in love with you. Focus on that. Why are you focused on the past? That's what I'm on. I don't know why he's focusing on the past, man.
Guys who got to her earlier won over the guy who has her now. Younger women are always more valuable. So if a guy slept with her when she
That gotta be the most predatory shit I've ever heard in my life. That was another thing in the red pill that really never ever made sense to me. That whole, oh, younger women are always more valuable, and none. That shit sounds so weird to me, fool. I'm not gonna lie. That shit sounds to me so. That shit sounds so weird to me, bro. And he's talking about so if a guy slept with her when she was younger, even by a couple years, he got something better than me than I will never have. What? Aye, man. Man. And we've seen it with like certain actors and like girls that are in the media. You can, as a girl, you can look good at age 30, 40, 50. Like, have y'all seen Nia Long today? Good Lord, man. Have y'all seen Salma Hayek today? Have y'all seen Jessica Alba today? Do I gotta keep on going? Come on, man. And I know some people will be like, oh, some of those people you just named, they might have had plastic surgery or this, that, and the third. You do what you want to make sure you look better, bro. But saying this whole, oh, younger women will always be more valuable and as a woman, your clock isn't, bro. Stop that shit, bro. Stop that shit.
was younger, even by a couple of years, he got something better than me than I will ever have. More masculine men, more social men, taller men are always more attractive than more sensitive, more introverted, average height men. These are probably the same high/middle school jerks that have beat me my whole life, and they also beat me to my girlfriend's vagina. Well,
okay.
It's a very vulgar way of putting it, but straight to the point, I guess. I don't know. I think this level of adherence to the manosphere or to red pill teachings is not normal. I don't know many people who'd be like, oh, because you were with my girlfriend 2 years ago, you got the most valuable version of her because I got to her when she was 2 years older. I've never heard anyone talking like that. Usually when I hear people within the red pill space talk about younger women being more valuable, they're comparing women who are like decades, like at least a decade apart. So they'll say things like, women in their 20s are more valuable than women in their 30s or women in their 40s. I've not really heard anyone go as far as to say like a 22-year-old woman is drastically less valuable than a 20-year-old woman. Like
that don't make no damn sense.
I think that's a bit much. Women retroactively change their memories of their past to fit their current relationship. For instance, a past very passionate relationship will be explained away as empty, unsatisfying. So the comparison you hear, even if it's very favorable, like you're the best romantic partner I've ever had, can't be trusted. I
mean, I will say this, there are women in the world that are like that. But also there are also women in the world who aren't like that. I feel like with a lot of these ideologies, with the red pill, you just start generalizing women into just a box. And then before you know it, you're generalizing other things. That's a whole nother video, brother. Red pill to alt-right pipeline. That's a whole other video, but just a whole lot of generalizing, which is gonna skew the fuck out of your dating life, period.
I can imagine that it's probably extremely exhausting to be in a relationship with someone like this, because you literally can't win. If you say positive things about them, then you're lying. Nothing that can't be trusted. But if you were to say like negative things, I'm sure that they would believe that to be true. So they're just constantly in like a bias feedback loop. There's nothing
this is one of them red pill dudes that came in with low self-esteem, and the red pill made this nigga self-esteem even lower. Made him even more paranoid. I ain't gonna lie, the more and more I'm hearing him talk, the more and more I'm hearing this stuff be read out, I'm over here thinking, how the hell did he get a girlfriend? How? Like, I know the red pill probably taught him a little bit on how to get a girl, but the red pill doesn't teach you on how to keep a girl. The red pill doesn't teach you on how to keep a woman. And I realized that shit super fucking early. Like, most of the red pill ideology is for if you just want hoes. Not if you want a long-term relationship and stuff like that. Yeah. But with his mindset though, he should be able to flip that, because now you have the girl. You think your girl looks good, stuff like that, all that. Like, you have the girl now. She's yours now. Not in like a possessive way, just in a like, oh, they're in a relationship. Like, you feel me? Like that's your John. So it's not making sense to me, man. It's not.
Will say that would disprove his internal philosophy, because even when she tries to contradict what he thinks about himself, he can't trust that. But if she was to say something that would confirm it, he would probably believe it. So it's like, what can you really do? Sexual relationships are inherently adversarial. Women will bait a provider type by pretending to be more focused on long-term commitment, and a player male type will trick a woman into sleeping with him by doing the same. So I get a false version of my girlfriend, and she was only used by past men. Women are repulsed by weakness, so you should never show vulnerability or you will reduce your attractiveness. A woman's most valuable thing to give is sex. Not commitment, connection, time, love, but sex. So the sex those men got is more valuable than anything additional she could give me. The more sex a woman has, the less valuable they are. Yeah, I don't personally think that this level of adherence to these principles is normal by any means. I'm not even gonna try and say that most guys who like the red pill or listen to the red pill take it.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, you'd be surprised. Some of these people do be taking it to those extremes, but it's not all of them. I don't think it's all of them for sure.
This level of extreme, I think this is a bit much, but it is interesting to see that some people do take it this far. And it is quite interesting to see that some people are literally sticking to these principles and following them to a T. To the point. And
again, when it all comes back to what I said in the first part of this video, when you take these ideologies to the extreme, it'll end up bad. This dude, I would hate to be this dude. He's walking around in this relationship so paranoid, so afraid of this, that, and the third happening. He's gonna psych himself into a breakup. He's going to psych himself into this girl eventually being like, yo, this dude is too fucking paranoid. I keep trying to reassure him. He keeps on just downplaying it and thinking I'm lying and all that shit. I might as well just leave this nigga. Like, good fucking Lord. You are going to mentally manifest a fucking breakup if you keep thinking like this. If you keep moving like this, bro.
Where it's kind of not normal at all. Like, I just don't think that most people would think like this, and I don't think even people who are fans of the red pill, I don't think most of them get to this level. I could be wrong though, but I just don't think this is normal. And I do actually genuinely feel quite bad for this guy, because I can only imagine how maddening it must be to like be constantly dealing with that internal conflict, because there's no way he can fully enjoy his relationship if this is the stuff that's going on in his head. And I can only imagine that it must be so exhausting for his girlfriend to be in a relationship with him when this is the kind of stuff that he's thinking, because it must be so difficult to be in a relationship with someone who's in my personal opinion dealing with some self-esteem issues. And I'm not saying that just because he has a problem with the fact that she's had six sexual partners, okay, because I know there's gonna be some people in the comments who are like, Patience, so if a guy has an issue with how many sexual partners his girl has, that means he's got self-esteem issues. No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't think there's anything wrong with caring about your partner's past or caring about their history when it comes to that kind of stuff. I think it's perfectly fine for both men and women to care about that, because everyone has their own personal preference in terms of what they would prefer when it comes to that. What I personally think is abnormal is this level of fixation. But at least this guy is trying to get help, even if it's on social media. You know, I guess it's a start. I would say he should maybe talk to someone who could actually help him in a more productive way, but you know, it's a start. At least he acknowledges that these thoughts and these views are sabotaging him in ways, and he's trying to work through them. I think ultimately any ideology that encourages you to be wary of the opposite sex through using generalizations about the opposite sex is one that can lead to negative interactions with the opposite sex and can also make dating them pretty difficult. Both feminism and the red pill often have a habit of correctly diagnosing issues when it comes to the dynamics between men and women in society. However, when it comes to their solutions, I think sometimes they can fall off a bit. Or sometimes they just don't have solutions. The amount of red pill content creators I've seen just pointing out a whole bunch of problems with not a single solution in sight is also an issue that I think comes with some of this stuff as well. Because I don't think anyone benefits from hearing all of the problems without any practical solutions. Because this is what then causes people to just be wary, because all they know is all the issues and they don't actually have any way of like working with that. I also do wonder as well if the reason why we see a lot of people leaning towards ideologies and stuff like that to kind of help guide them through dating and relationships is because of the fact that a lot of people are children of divorce, single parents. You know, a lot of people have witnessed relationships break apart, or they've witnessed their parents' relationships or marriages dissolve. And so maybe because because that stuff has become a lot more common and a lot more normal, and a lot of households are kind of in that situation, you know, like blended families, divorce, all these kind of things have become so commonplace now for many people, or just single parents in general. I do wonder if maybe that's made people a lot more interested in seeking out external sources for how to conduct relationships and how to interact with the opposite sex, because they probably never had examples of that in their own home, or they never had healthy examples of that, or they're kind of just scared of replicating what they saw in front of them, and so they want to try and find a way to kind of cheat the system or ways to avoid having those outcomes, and so they seek out these things in order to try and have a completely different experience with dating and their love lives. Because often these influencers, you know, the appeal of them is that they are selling people the answers, right? They're selling people the cheat code on how to navigate this thing without being hurt. And I think a lot of people are afraid of just that, right? They're afraid of being hurt. They want to do things properly, they want to do things strategically and carefully, because they want to maximize.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, with this shit, just in life in general, you cannot move with fear, bruh. You move with fear, that shit gonna come right back to bite you in the ass.
Is their success. Or maybe I'm just overanalyzing it. Who knows? Let me know what you think in the comments about these stories. I'd love to know what you think about why people are so drawn to these things in order to guide them.
To be honest, I'm gonna just go from my stance when I was like 14, 15. I was drawn to it because of the quote-unquote lifestyle, seeing what I saw, you know, all the girls, the money, the clothes, you know what I'm saying? But when I really got into it and actually looked at the way some of these people live, I was like, what the actual fuck? I do not want to live like these niggas. Like, but yeah, I feel like a lot of what draws people in is that, but also a sense of community, people that think like them in a sense, and a lot of these people, whether they're in the super far feminist community or the red pill community, they build up the facade of somebody who has the solutions, who has the answers. When you really look at it, they don't got shit. But shout out Patience Xena for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Has the red pill ruined any of your relationships? Has feminism ruined any of your relationships? I would like to know in the comments, man. I'm gonna be honest, the red pill ruined a lot of my relationships, even like certain friendships too. But I'm at least glad that as soon as I graduated when I was 17. It's like 2023. As soon as I graduated, a couple months after that, I was able to get out of the red pill and, you know, really just start thinking for myself and thinking of what do I want my life to look like? What do I want this, that, and the third to look like? And coming up with my own ideology instead of, you know, going off of, you know, somebody else's. But yeah, I'm at least glad that shit ain't dragged with me into my adulthood, because holy shit, I couldn't imagine holding some of these values and some of these principles as an adult. And again, if I haven't said it already, This isn't all of the red pill. There are probably very helpful people in the red pill, people who aren't like super OC crazy like Myron or like Fresh and Fit or Andrew Tate and stuff like that. But I'm just going off of what I see from the bigger figureheads. And even some of the people that I thought were really, really good red pill content creators, like Hamza, for instance. And he I don't even count him as a red pill content creator. He's gone in and out of the red pill. When he first started, he was super red pill, and then got out of it, and then he was like, yeah, nah, I'm not red pill, that shit is weird. And then recently in like 2024, 2025, he went back on the red pill stuff and then got out of it again. That was one of the main people that I was watching in the manosphere, and even he has had his own criticisms and hypocrisy going on with him. But yeah, love y'all so much. Marso Mafia the game, Marso Mob the squad. And I'm gonna see you in the next video. Peace.